Authenticity begins where the ego ends. The power radiance that emerges when you can admit you are wrong, guys, will completely change the game. The truth will set you free instead of fighting it. Embrace it for authenticity, for empowerment, for momental growth, and true freedom. Stay tuned to learn more about the ego, guys, and its trickery and debauchery and how it gets you off your center, off your truth. And we're going to be talking about the importance and new paradigm shifts of a higher possibility that will honor yourself and your becoming. And we will go over how to integrate this, guys, so you could truly step into your radiance and power. And let's dive in, guys. And before we begin, I want to share a story. So for me, and apologizing and admitting I was wrong, that was relatively easy because I didn't value myself. I valued other people's truth more than mine, and because of that, it was much easier for me to integrate other people. And so not necessarily admitting mistakes, but for me, it was asking for help. I was so afraid that would make me seem like a failure, a weakness, and I wouldn't do that. And that was the ego talking and how it kept me small. But guys, receiving, I had been on the other end, and two stories come to mind. One, and I always like sharing the light first because that's what we need more in this life, guys. And there was this gal, big business opportunity, I need some equipment to host a deep retreat and healing. Multiple people were depending on me. We reached out, we communicated. It was good to go, but thankfully I knew she could be a little bit spacey. She didn't get back to me. I sent a couple texts, called, nothing. And at this point, I knew she wasn't going to follow through. I found another supplier, and I didn't have time to communicate with her. I reached back the following day and just told her like that was not cool. I had people relying on me, what happened. And what was so amazing is she apologized, admitted she was wrong, and was taking ownership through there. And I felt so honored in that moment. And I'm actually working with her as a client as well. So many doors and opportunities open when you can admit you're wrong. And also, guys, some of the more treacherous ones is, and this was more so in relationships, there was this gal that I was seeing. She was so stuck in her ego at times, she never apologized for anything. And it was very destructive. I felt I had to carry the weight of the entire relationship on my shoulders. I didn't feel honored. And instead of embracing growth and empowerment, we're stuck. Right? And so those are some experiences in my life. I'll fill you in a little bit more, but we're going to dive right in, guys. We're going to talk about the ego. And guys, the ego is meant to protect you. It is meant to keep you safe and to allow you to be comfortable at times, right? And so with this, it is just honoring it, right? It's not meant to bring you off your path. It's not destructive. It has a purpose. And so when you can approach it like, oh, it's just trying to keep me safe, it allows a lot more softness and love and compassion for you guys to really move forward with it. Right? So it is meant to keep you safe. And it's a messenger. It gives you all these insights, right? And it stays alive by identity is what you're holding on to. And so as you go through life and experiences, you're going to recognize what your identities are. And this is more so when you start losing stuff. Guys, when you're vibrant, abundant, and empowered, what needs to happen is that feels great, right? When you start losing everything outside yourself, can you remain the same human being? If you can, that shows those aren't your identities. The identities, guys, that you need to have within your life are the only things that you can control. Your values, your integrity, your character, how you show up every single moment. And if you can honor that, this will be no problem. You'll start dealing with this ego, right? And it needs validation. It needs validation to stay alive. And so, guys, if you seek external sources of validation, that keeps the ego and away from your highest truth, your highest expression, right? So this, guys, comes from defending, ego versus discovering, openness, truth. This comes from judgment, right? Always critiquing, thinking how certain things should be versus a curiosity and openness, right? discover, ask questions. And lastly, guys, constriction, you're closing your body, versus openness, freedom, expansion. That is what we want. And ego, guys, will ultimately keep you small, keep you judging, and keep you limited, right? And guys, this is such a good tool because it gives you the freedom to start detaching from those beliefs and those identities. So when it comes up, it is such a beautiful opportunity to go within your vessel. Go within your vessel. So I'm curious if there's any stories of where you blindly stuck with the ego and ended up hurting you real bad, right? Life is like, okay. And to give you an example, for me, this was when I was in the military. I went to basic training, Fort Benning, Georgia, infantry. It didn't work out for me. I got a early leave separation, but I remember there's one point, and I broke the rules, right? Me and a buddy, we were supposed to go to a doctor's appointment, and we did do that, but we went to the food chow hall as well to get food, and we weren't supposed to do that. And when we came back, we ended up getting caught, and the drill sergeant questioned my battle buddy, and I knew my battle buddy told him the truth, told him everything, didn't stand to the story we stuck. And drill sergeant looked at me, and I'm not going to say it how he said it, but he's just like, 206, you piece of shit, where were you? And I looked straight in his eyes, and I was so scared because I didn't know the repercussions. And I lied to him. I told him the story that we came up with, and he's like, there's a pause, and he looked me dead in the eyes, and he's like, I'm going to give you one more opportunity. Tell me the truth. And I sat in that moment. I was so conflicted, like ego, lying, staying in my truth, or do I break it and tell him what actually happened? And I ended up lying to him, and he's like, 206, you piece of shit, I know you're lying to me. And then it made my life a living hell after that. I learned that lesson the hard way. And so I'm curious, any stories about you guys blindly sticking to it? Comment down below. And now, guys, a new paradigm. Be ready, guys. This will change everything. Instead of being right, what is the highest truth in that moment? Instead of everything you're viewing it, what is the highest truth that is happening? And with that, guys, not only are you honoring your perspective, but you get an opportunity to see other people's perspective. And when that happens, guys, you can integrate for the highest truth. And guys, that will grant you so much freedom and empowerment, not only within yourself, but your life, right? And because of this, you're going to get massive growth. Instead of holding on to old paradigms just to be right, you guys like, nope, that's no longer the highest truth. You let go, you detach, and it puts your energy and resources into things that are the highest truth in that moment, and it embraces life. Life is always evolving, changing, growing. And guess what? You're doing the same thing, guys. Same thing. Same thing. Increased ownership, accountability, and responsibility, guys, because when you can admit mistakes, admit failures, admit when you are wrong, and be able to speak it, that shows that you can handle responsibility. It shows that you can take accountability. This allows constructive criticism, and so it creates increasing capabilities of accountability, of ownership, and of responsibility. And if you want to be a person of influence, if you want to truly step into your radiancy and power, it comes with a lot of responsibility. And how do you handle that? The highest truth, guys, the highest truth. And guys, man, your ability to repair when you make mistakes, and especially in relationships, because that's going to happen. It's inevitable. Conflict, chaos is going to happen, but it allows you to repair it very quickly and move forward in integrity and in truth, guys. That is what we are seeking, and it is a very immense gift to repair things quickly, because that's life. Things are going to break. And higher authenticity to share everything, guys. You're not trying to be perfect. You're not trying to just show your good stuff. You're sharing your highest truth and your authenticity, and the freedom that comes with that, guys, is invigorating and is raw. Let's stick with that. Let's honor that. And guys, I'm curious if you have any stories of what it felt like to let go of the ego and embrace the highest truth. Even though you feel that tenacity to like, oh, this is my truth. Let's hear what other people have to say. Let's see what is in alignment. Comment down below. Guys, how do you integrate this? One, what are your values? What is your guiding compass? If you cannot rattle them off just like that, they're not conscious, they're unconscious, and they're gonna make themselves known. And so when you get these ego hits, I need to be right, or an identity is being activated, you haven't consciously created them. So go through that process. I have a system on my website to help you sustainably create that. Focus on what your values are, guys. And guys, this one's big. You have to have a purpose bigger than yourself, because if you do not, it keeps you limited, right? And once you put something bigger than yourself, your mission, your purpose, it allows you to step out of the ego pretty quick. And a story of that for mine is in my journey of healing. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know what my legacy was. And I was so afraid to ask for help and do things that would seem weak, right? But then it wasn't until I honored my mission to help people step inside themselves, to optimize their mind, their body, and the spirit, to elevate consciousness and allow people to come home, that it put me in situations where I had to ask for help, where I had to ask strangers for money to put gas in my car so I could go do retreats and make vulnerability posts of me getting the assistance I need to be successful to honor that mission and God. That breaks down the ego like no other, because it's so much bigger than yourself, guys. So much bigger. So much bigger. And self-awareness, guys. What is deep inside your surface? What little gremlin shadows do you have, and what's your relationship with them? Because if you love them and honor them, you know exactly what's going to come up underneath the surface. And so when it comes, it's like, I'm aware of this, I know it, and I love it, I take ownership of it, and I'm working with it. So it's not going to be as potent and powerful, where you want to stick with the ego. And building yourself, guys. The more that you honor your vessel in terms of your integrity, your values, breathing into your body, you're going to be less likely to seek validation. You're going to be less likely to avoid conflict. You're going to honor it because you're so grounded and rooted in your energy, in your presence, and that will allow you to embrace your highest truth. Your highest truth. So guys, we've gone over the ego and really what it serves to, how to integrate it, the lessons that come from it. We've come about the new paradigm, always seek the highest truth, and some of the benefits with that, and how to integrate it within the system, guys. Now, let me work with you one-on-one so we can work with the various egos, the beliefs that you have, the values that you're unconscious of. Work through all that, build your sense of self, and create an environment where you could be your most authentic. Let me work with you. We'll rise together and help you step into your fullest truth, your fullest radiancy. And also, guys, I want to build this community to a high caliber. So like, comment, and subscribe, and any questions down below so we can build this community. And as always, guys, choose your light and empowerment. Blessings.